Angie here from Pear. Hope you're all having a fantastic day today, and thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Style Tips and Tricks. Today we're going to do something a wee bit different, and we're actually going to have a guest. Now, you might recognize this guest from our guest blogs that we do in our Pear community. She's written a couple of our health and wellness blogs to really help promote a healthy lifestyle for our Pear Shaped community. As a fellow Pear Shaped girl, I think it can be quite difficult to stay healthy while also nurturing your body and your curves. So we've been very lucky to be able to work with this lady, and I've known her for quite a few years, so this is quite exciting. But today we have Katie Masters here from Katie Masters Health. And do you want to say hi and introduce yourself a bit more, Katie?
Hi, Angie. So yes, I've known you for quite a while now, but I've been working in the fitness industry for about 7 years now after making a career change. I used to work in digital, and just, it wasn't the healthiest lifestyle for me. So I went on my, health and fitness journey and loved it and decided to change careers. And yeah, now I am where I am today, just helping people live healthier lifestyles and pretty much just be the best they can be.
Yeah, I love it. And one of the things and one of the reasons that I thought you would be a really great consistent guest blogger for Pear is that you yourself are a pear-shaped woman, and you and I have both had similar issues with clothing and fitting and
Yeah.
body insecurities and just everything that comes along with we're both petite pears as well. So, I think it's a really great thing to be able to have you able to help men and women while also understanding the different body types and lifestyles that everyone has.
Yeah,
So
definitely. And I wasn't always a petite pair. And so I understand really like the struggles as well. When I was larger, just
mm,
finding clothes that fit and that fit well, I'd need to shop, in multiple sizes. I couldn't wear a dress because of my pear shape. So
yes, we have had those issues before. Yes, dresses, love them. Well, I was kind of wondering we're talking about how to best introduce you to the community, and I kind of thought it would be a great way to actually do a bit of a series with you so that we can cover things and help people love their curves even more. So I thought this episode we can talk a bit more about you, your background, what Katie Masters Health is all about, and kind of going through the personal hurdles that you yourself have gone through and overcome as a pear-shaped personal trainer, and how you kind of have overcome them to be this really strong and knowledgeable, almost mentor for, I know you mentor me personally, not so much with exercise, that needs to come eventually, but you help me a lot with my dietary issues, which one day I'm sure we'll chat about. But, just to let everyone know a little bit more about your journey into how Katie Masters Health came about and how you've worked on your own pear-shaped journey.
yeah. So where would you like me to start?
From the beginning, I guess.
Well, like I said, I'd always had issues with body weight all my life. Like even as a child, I was overweight, not by today's standards, but growing up in the 80s, I was considered overweight. These days, I'd probably be the average child size.
Yeah, the Aussie, like the average Aussie, I reckon.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
back then, everyone was like stick thin, and it was hard finding clothes even as a preteen teenager that fit well. Really, like things like jeans and stuff were impossible to find. And just the impact that has on your self-esteem when you can't wear the things that your peers and everything want to wear, being a teenager, and what's in fashion. And my coming of age was the era of the supermodels, which was
Mm,
horrible. It's like you're looking at Kate Moss in her prime, days as a young supermodel and comparing yourself to that, which is, hey, maybe she's slightly pear-shaped, but she's a size 6. Or possibly,
yes.
yes. And then, yeah, so I had my own issues around food and body image and everything. And, back then it wasn't so clear cut as to what to do to, look after yourself and, work on your health and fitness and your body image. So, I made a lot of, horrible choices, some really like disordered eating habits, disordered exercise habits, just, things that really impacted my health negatively. And then, growing up, as I got into my 20s, I did find a bit of a balance and ate more healthily. And it wasn't that I ate unhealthily, I just ate what was considered healthy at the time. So everything was really low fat, really high carb, really processed. And that
This
was
is
what we
super not good for pear-shaped women.
wanted to eat in that era to lose weight. And it was just crazy. Diet foods. And then, yeah, in my 20s, I sort of had some major health issues as a result of these lifestyle choices. And then, I got my health and everything back on track. But then I had some issues in my early 30s, and that was more in relation to a high stress lifestyle. And at that point, I was probably pushing everything too hard. So exercising too hard, working too hard, partying too hard, doing everything to the extreme. And so, I made the choice to, change my career and, really work on my own, like my body image issues, and just, get really strong and really focus on just being the healthiest person I could be, as opposed to being the thinnest person I could be, or to look like
Mhm.
everybody else. So
It
yeah,
was a really interesting time because I remember when that happened, we actually knew each other, and
yeah.
it was kind of like all of a sudden the light bulb turned on and you realized that you just weren't happy as well. Like I think that was a major driving force, is that you weren't happy in any.
Yeah, and that's why I was pushing everything so hard, because I was
Yeah.
constantly wanting to, find happiness through all these different things, and I wasn't finding that
Yeah.
happiness. I was just getting more stressed and feeling more overwhelmed.
And then I remember when you started to train and started to not train as in physically train, but train as in become your journey to become an actual personal trainer.
Yeah,
It was a very exciting time. I remember you came to my house. I think I was living in Fitzroy at the time, and you came and you had just left a class and you were basically on cloud nine. And it was that moment that I realized that this was a real serious thing, that this is actually something, because you just seemed so happy. And there was about kind of like an air of yourself where you just felt, because I'd seen you super stressed and super, overwhelmed for a couple months before that. And you had just looked just so new, I
yeah,
think. Yeah, because I hadn't seen you, I think, for a couple of weeks, and then you came to the house, and it was right after the session, and you just, yeah, it was like a new you that kind of walked in the door. And I think since that time, you have been able to, fix, deal with all those, your mental happiness, your physical happiness, your body, and everything, and it's really inspirational, I think.
thank you. Yeah, and I guess it's just I'm a work in progress, like everyone else is. So I mean, I just try to work out what I can sort of work on next, how I can continue to grow, and how I can be a better coach, how I can be a better person, how I can function better, because because I have had these health issues. There's things about myself that I want to actually fix and do the best that I can do, so that getting older, I will be in a better position to be independent for longer and look after myself, and not have a lot of the health concerns that a lot of older people have these days, and a lot of issues that can be prevented as well. Because I know that I've already done a lot of damage to my body, so now I want to make sure that I don't continue that cycle where I'm harming myself, really.
Yeah, it's really inspirational. Like, I know the last few years, your journey, I've been really inspired about you, and I've only finally just started to work with you the last month. I got a very, very bad result the last time I got my blood taken, but you know, I've still been inspired by you. I've always wanted to do more for myself, my body, and my mental well-being.
Yeah,
Like, I've been able to see how much it's impacted you,
yeah,
and also just impacted how you look at yourself as a pear-shaped woman. I know
yeah,
when we first met, I remember there were days where we would get together and we would just kind of rag on our own bodies.
yeah,
um, I remember many times we were talking about how, oh, I can't do like wear that because, my body will never fit that. And,
yeah,
we blamed our bottom halves quite a bit. Not so much the
yeah,
top.
yeah.
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 We did a lot of, self-hatred and you know,
Loathing and
not loving our curves and anything like that. And over the last few years, I've been finding it really inspirational on how you really focus on helping your clients not only change their body, but also change their mental perspective on
yeah,
what they look. I think like that's really important.
yeah, because I get a lot of people that come to me, like anyone that starts going to the gym. A lot of the reason they go to the gym is because they want to lose weight, and a lot of the time they just want to be skinny. But I've been skinny and I've been strong and and improve. But now I look back, when I was at my leanest, I didn't feel as good and as healthy and as happy as I do now, because then I was just focused on getting abs. And
Yes.
even after I started this fitness journey, but then I still had issues where I felt cold all the time, and I still felt exhausted all the time, and I developed gut issues because, again, it's trial and error, finding what works for you, and sometimes you take a wrong turn. And these days it's more about what I can put in my body that's good for it, how I can not overdo the exercise, how I can have a better image of myself, in terms of, like, I'm a woman in her early 40s. I don't necessarily want
Which, by the way, everyone, you heard that right. She said 40s, not 30s. To this day, we still go out and people think she's younger than me. Feels great.
But yeah, but I just, like, when I started working with my coach, like, at first he was like, what do you want to focus on with your physique? And I was like, I don't want to look like a bodybuilder, and I don't want to look like ultra lean, because the average person isn't realistically ever going to be that way. It takes a lot of sacrifice to get to that point, unless if you're genetically predisposed to being that way. And I'm not genetically predisposed to being that way. So for me to be ultra lean where you can see my abs, I have to eat really strictly, like to the point where, you know, fun to be around. And it's balance, like, you know, being able to go out and have, you know, a meal with your friends and not just drink a black coffee while they all eat and you go and eat your chicken and salad in a box. Like no one wants to live like that either. So it's, you know, finding what works for you, finding balance, and also just learning to embrace your body. So yeah, when I started with my coach, she's like, what kind of body would you like to have? And I'm like, look, I would rather look like an Olympic sprinter more so than a fitness competitor, because it's like they look strong, they look muscular. It's a,
They look healthy.
yeah, they look
Yeah.
healthy. I don't want to look like an endurance runner. I don't want to look like read thin, because I want to feel strong and I want to feel capable and I want to feel like I can do things for myself. Like, you know, I don't need help doing anything, you know, lifting things, carrying things, doing things around my apartment. You know, I can pretty much rely on myself to do most things because I've built myself to be this strong person physically and mentally. And that's something that I like to focus on doing with my clients, because a lot of the time it's there, but people just don't, you know, have that belief in themselves. And once you start doing little things to get a little bit stronger physically, it also helps you to get a little bit stronger mentally, because you realize what you're actually capable of that, you know, you didn't think you were capable of before. So it goes a long way towards building a little bit more mental resilience as well.
100% agree. And that leads really well into what we were hoping to discuss in our next episode, which is kind of based off of a blog that you wrote for us a couple months ago about strength and confidence and everything. So that perfectly ties in with that next episode. So thank you for that. Now, as always, as always, guys, this is actually, you know, a bit different of a series that we're doing, but as always, like, share, follow, subscribe to all of our socials and get a part of our community so that you can hear more tips and tricks from Katie in being healthy and confident and having a good overall health and wellness perspective of your body. But make sure to check us out next week, because you will get to hear more about Katie's story and basically how having a healthy body can help you have a healthy mind and outlook on your pear-shaped curves. So thank you so much for joining me for this episode, Katie.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you.
No worries. And as always, guys, love your curves. Bye.